Northern Ireland, Alternative Timeline, Season 1, Episode 3. The Conversation with the Other Political Party. Hello and welcome back to the show. Before the break, we were talking with the leader of the newly formed, roughly newly, I'm not really sure. All I know is it's new to our attention anyway. The newly come to our attention party, the Peace Party, and we're going against one of the more well, I guess you could say unionist well, some people have accused this party of being a bit right-wing, but, let's have the conversation with the two of them. So the two of you have come into the studio, and can I thank you both for coming in? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem at all. So should we just kick it off with the blatant words from you, the leader of the Peace Party? Well, I'd simply say this. Obviously, we all want to get beyond this whole unionist, national thing, and I think we may be beginning to get beyond it, because we're all beginning to realise it's sort of bull. Like, it really is. Like, you really have, in a way, it's relatively secure. I mean, I don't want people to say, oh, well, look at this Egypt, he thought it was secure, but he wasn't. But what I'm saying is that, to me, it seems roughly like quite a few people all around the world wouldn't really support this. It wouldn't really support a united Ireland. So I'm saying that I think it's good that we're getting beyond that, because some people at least, because you're reaching to the point where you're starting to understand that there are some issues that are a little more important than issues which are essentially created. Because if I put it this way, your government is essentially, people vote in Conservative governments around the world, not because they want the Conservative government, but because of individual policies and trickery that is involved in this, which is my point. People vote in your party because you have certain policies, but what I'd like to draw attention to is some of your other policies, which are a little bit worse, and that's the issue. Because if you see policies and parties all around the world, they have an issue whereby you have to choose them, or this party, or this party, this party. And what happens is when a party gains a lot of foothold, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good party, you know the way? Well, I don't know what you mean by that. Like, could you explain that a little bit more to me? Well, for example, I mean, you've got very strict policies, and I'd almost compare them to, almost controlling the nation, but in a sense we're very, but put it this way. If people as a group decide to democratically oppress another group, now this doesn't mean that they are benefiting from this oppression. They're not. They're just oppressing them. So, do you think that's okay? Well, I mean, it is a democratic thing. No, because the point you're missing is this. For example, you say you want to ban abortion. You don't want an abortion allowed here. What's that about? Well, I mean, only obviously if we get elected. I mean, if we get elected, that's the people sending us a message that they don't want abortion. No, it's not though. It's really not. That's my point. When you elect a party, you can disagree with some of the things in the manifesto. And furthermore, even the majority of people who do vote for you and do vote for this government do want there not to be any abortion here, then that doesn't actually mean anything. Because if you put it like this, so what? Because 50% of people, right, actually less, are, not able, aren't actually, I guess you could say, this obviously wouldn't be a very popular decision, but to say that they're not really affected in the same way by abortion and the lack of it as the rest of the country. What do you mean by that? Well, I mean, if you're a man, and you are, then you'll understand that, you are generally not very likely to actually become pregnant yourself. So if you want to terminate their pregnancy, you won't really need to have an abortion yourself. If your partner or the person you've had sexual intercourse with, if they want to terminate want to terminate their the fetus, then they are allowed to have the choice. What I'm saying is, why exactly would you be allowed to vote over them? Because they're the ones who are either going to get this or not get this. So if there's, at the end of the day, why should you as a man, who obviously, we are affected in some ways, and I understand that. I'm not saying men aren't affected by it. What I'm saying is, mainly, the main person who's affected by it is the person that has to actually give birth, So that's my point. You cannot actually say, because in some cases, you can't just vote on something that doesn't affect you and then say, the majority rules. Yeah, but the point is, if 10 people in a room are affected by something and 20 other people in the room, or the room of 30, aren't affected by it, how come just because those 20 people voted over those 10, how come that then isn't allowed? Because those 10 people unanimously voted for that thing to be available. And that's the point. Well, not all women want abortions available. Yeah, I understand that entirely. Yeah, but my point is, what exactly is your view on that? Well, for example, you're just saying there that the fetus, it's not a fetus, it's a baby. No, it's really not a baby. Let me explain something to you. This is basic biology, by the way. Basically, an egg is, it's an egg, right? That's what it is at the start. Yeah. And then what happens is, it comes in contact with sperm. And if it does, it will then grow into a fetus. Okay? And then from that, it'll grow into a baby. Now, I'm not sure if you can comprehend this, but fetus and baby are two different things. If a fetus is born, they're not a baby. That's the point. Because a fetus is before a baby. You know what I mean? You wouldn't refer to all babies as adults. That's the point. Because there's fetus and then baby. It is not a name given to a baby. Just, it's another name. No, it's not. A fetus is pre-baby. There's fetus ends, baby begins. Well, that's just wrong. No, it's really not though. See, this is what you call basic biology. And I understand sometimes, if you don't have access to education, that's, there's nothing wrong with that. You haven't had access to it. But you are, an upper class, well-educated person. You've gone to higher class private schools. You've had the finest teachers in the country. All of these things. And lavish amounts of money spent on you, and yet you can't understand the basics of biology. Where is that coming from? Because what I'm asking is, why would anyone want to vote for you when you have essentially wasted that amount of money that's been spent on your education in relationship to people who actually can't have access to even a tenth of that level of education, just because they are not able to access the resources, or they're not able to, they're not able to attend school because they have to work, or they're not able to do this because of whatever the case may be. That's the situation I'm asking you. Why would anyone want to vote for your party? I understand that you do have supporters, but why exactly would those supporters be your supporters? Well, this is nonsense. If you look at yourself, you say, you're not pro, you're kind of a leftist party. What's that about? Well, let me explain. We're not exactly, completely pro-business over our own people. What the hell does that mean? No, business is important. You're just a socialist, aren't you? You seem to think, for one, that socialism is completely wrong, which, you don't actually know that, because, you are right, you are aware that when people are, this is something that I find a lot of the time people misunderstand. They seem to think that socialism and communism are roughly the same thing. They're not. Can you comprehend? We're not actually, we're more closer to moderate. We're just on the left side because, we wouldn't really want a party like you in power. We wouldn't want policies like that implemented because, I'd say, obviously, how would I put this? Have you ever heard of it? It's basically this thing. It's whereby you don't actually stop other people in favor of people making lots of money. Like, I understand people have this thing of, there's nothing wrong with making lots of money. That is not necessarily true, because once you reach a certain level of wealth, you cannot reach that certain level of wealth without crushing others. And this is the fact. If you look at the wealthy in this world, those who are at the very top could not have that wealth. They physically just couldn't without crushing other people. So if everyone around the place was a millionaire, then the billionaires of the world, they wouldn't be able to have as much wealth as they have now. I mean, obviously, you may argue there's nothing wrong with having wealth, but the issue is when you get that from, legal but unethical sources, or essentially what you might call abusing your customers and abusing your staff. At that level, you really need to say no. Your policies, if you want to cut taxes because you want to bring taxes down, why would you bring taxes down for corporations? Why would you bring taxes down for people earning loads of money? Well, I would say this. It's because you yourself are earning lots of money. Like, do you understand how actually flawed, that makes it seem, that you would then be voted in power? Someone who is not representational of the public at all, in any sense. Well, we'll be back after the break, and we'll be continuing the conversation then after these. Have you ever felt that you just want to go free, just relax and enjoy the world? Well, come to Belfast's Lovely Hotel. The Belfast Lovely Hotel is the finest hotel with 5 stars in the whole of Belfast. Come down and enjoy yourself with this exclusive Belfast Lovely Hotel. Thank you for listening. This is a Smith Co. fiction podcast. It's a bit like political. It would be like if a political news, not really news, more like a political podcast where people would interview politicians, except it's not real. It's an alternative timeline. So if you think that this is real, unfortunately it isn't, and I apologize if you were mistaken. But it's not real. But it's kind of like entertainment. But. Anyway, so if you want to watch the next episode, it should be coming out, hopefully, and if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'd be great, or view other videos, that'll also be great. So I guess we'll see you next time.